All right, so here we are back once again for the Renegade Master. Here we are on the riding across of the Sphinx. The 2-4. It's a beautiful line. The second line. It says, "Love is light." One of the most beautiful lines. People, the 2-4s. The two personality is something that is such a filter. A very strong filtering force. It doesn't let everything in because it's open to the call. One of the basic things that is very picky. People think that the second is just this shyness, busyness. It's just picky. So it doesn't put off that vibration that says, "I'm here. You can call me easily." It puts up barriers to block away these forces that it doesn't want to be forced to respond to in terms of the call. Now, when you're dealing with a 2-4 swings, you have to see that there are all these people outside saying, "Excuse me, could you tell me where to go?" And the Sphinx does. "Get lost. Don't bother me. I don't want to know where I don't know where to go." You figure out where you want to go. And as a Sphinx, the moment you deny someone direction, you're resented. It's the greatest dilemma for Sphinxes, and it doesn't matter what configuration you have. Everybody knows you're a Sphinx, whether they know it or not. There's something that is inherent in the which way the aura is felt that leads the other to assume that you can give them direction of one kind or another. And the moment you meet 2-4 Sphinxes and you know that they could help you, you also realize right away that they may not. One of the things about the first hexagram is why you bother to show them the way when in the end it's meaningless anyway, and how influential that is. They're out at their best really alone, and only alone they can finally find a way. Now that's very difficult. Most 2-4s get stuck on their family aura. It's very hard for them to get out of that. It's not an easy thing. It's very difficult for them to escape the direction that they have inherited both genetically and socially. One of the things about the one is as a 2-4 that they belong in a cave somewhere at least once in their life. It doesn't have to be an uncomfortable cave. It's just about isolation. It's about seeing that it's only a process within themselves that ultimately is going to give them the ability to be open to others, to be open to others, to actually be in a situation where they can actually give that kind of direction. 2-5. Whenever you have the 5 at the unconscious, you're always dealing with a lot of pain in the early part of your life. The 2-5s and the 3-5s suffer a lot as children. They suffer a lot as children, particularly the 3-5s, because there's a projection on them that they're going to be better, that they're going to be the best, and that places enormous pressure on them, and it's not possible after all. When we're dealing with the 2-5, again, what you have to see is that this is a Sphinx that is saying to you, "Leave me alone, find your own way," and at the same time, there's this unconscious that is calling. This is always the dilemma of the 2-5s. This is one of those cases where the 2-5 could be very beneficial. Remember, the 2-5s and 5-2s are self-motivated beings. So when you're looking at somebody who's a 2-5, the very fact that they're pulling such a strong force towards them, it opens them up the possibility for them, if they're correct, when they can benefit in a deep material way from their ability to put the creative direction into others. And in the creative direction, in other words, they can be very inspiring. Now, the whole thing about the 2-5s and their inspiration ability, the same thing with the 3-5s, that they can be inspiring as long as they're not held responsible. It's so interesting when you look at the first hexagram that this basic tendency is not to recognize it, it's directly giving direction. So the moment that you meet the 2-5 and you get inspired by them, it's indirect, everything is wonderful. It's there the moment where they really assume it's because of you. There are all kinds of problems because the first hexagram does not want to take that responsibility. It's a primal, individual, malign creative force when it does something. It doesn't do it for anyone. It doesn't do it to share. It doesn't do it in any way or other than the secondary quality of empowerment. And this is basically this kind of Sphinx. It's an empowering Sphinx, but it's not a directing Sphinx. It's not like the Sphinx on the second hexagram that says, "This is the direction." This first hexagram that says, "I'm going here," and the other person says, "Wow, that's a great idea." It's like, why I don't do that. In other words, it's very different power of Sphinx. So, everybody at the own Sphinx.